Well, good morning or afternoon, wherever you are. So I wanted to make a short video on, actually it's kind of an announcement, I suppose, really, in some ways. Geospatial 2.0 is going away. Let's dig in. So over the last couple of years, I've really been talking a lot about this notion of Geospatial 1.0, Geospatial 2.0. Geospatial 2.0, when the conversation began, and these are other conversations others have been having, not just myself, but the way I kind of looked at why it was important to make this sort of differentiator of Geospatial 2.0 is we'd lived for a long time in this world which was really separate expert disciplines within the geospatial sphere. So there's GIS, there's remote sensing, there's 3D design, there's a lot of other areas where there are experts who learn particular desktop software tools and apply their skills that they've learned at college or on the job, expert skills to do things. So the data that we're really talking about there is, I've just put a mix of other data types there. So primarily it's 2D data, it's static, it's vector, it's point lines and polygons, it's imagery, it's CAD, and it's models and isolation. By that I mean people design buildings as a standalone 3D object, if you like, model. So really the output in that sort of Geospatial 1.0 world has primarily been a map. And in the GIS world, which is my area of expertise, it's been a two-dimensional map. So the classic sort of base map with layers. And we've morphed from desktop to web, to mobile, and on. So that's the sort of the world of 1.0. The reason that 2.0 really caught my attention and my imagination was because I saw this, and if you saw my Friday talk today actually, I spoke about convergence, and we're really beginning to see these disciplines come together. So GIS, remote sensing, 3D design, CAD and BIM are coming into the world of GIS, etc. So there's a convergence of disciplines. There's also a convergence of data and other areas, and I've just put the what there as to what we're talking about as 2.0. And there's a lot of stuff that fits under the sort of 2.0 category. Yes, it's two-dimensional data, 3D data, it's 4D real-time data. IoT is a great example of that. It's not only static data, it's also dynamic data, so that's near real-time and real-time. Digital twin fits under this, GeoBIM fits here. Virtual reality, which is kind of the path that we're moving towards, as is metaverse, and then business systems integration, SAP and other business data, which is non-geospatial, geo-enabling that, and more. So we're really covering a big area there. The analytics piece is new algorithms, artificial intelligence, machine learning are two key areas there. And most importantly, that output or deliverable is, I put there, whatever answers the question. So yes, it might be a map, it might not be. It might be a text message, it might be any other type of insight or way of visualizing data or answering questions that the question demands. So we've moved away from a very centered, map-focused deliverable to a much wider group. So old terminology. I think that the notion of 1 or 2, 3 or 4, I keep reading about Geospatial Information 4.0, they're just increments. They're just really talking about incremental change. So if 1.0 is the world we have inhabited, it hasn't gone away, it's just been added to by other things. So that means 2 becomes relevant. Again, it doesn't have to be 2, it could be 3, it could be 4, but it's wrong. I would say it's all and none of the above. And we've spent some time, myself and a group, sort of thinking through this, and the one thing that really stands out from this all is we're really talking about next. Ultimately, it's about next. It doesn't have to have a digit attached to it. It's all about the advancing world of geospatial. So what's coming next? And again, it doesn't remove where we've been, it just means we're adding to what we've got. So next is a key word. So by next, we mean not only next in technology, and a lot of people are kind of focused around that, and a lot of stuff I've shared on Geospatial 2.0 as a sort of a technology focus. We're also talking about next in business as well. And that's a very different mindset, a very different business approach. There's different business models, there's lots of innovation, there's lots of startups popping out, there's companies, big companies like Snap and Facebook and those companies which are building geospatial units within them. So when I talk about the technology side of things, we're talking about things like new data, new algorithms, new cloud computing. Those are really the key areas and more on the technology side of things. And on the business side of it, we're talking about new conversations, new language that we would use, new use cases, really important, innovation, expansive thinking. So it's really getting out of that mindset of where we had sat with map-centric vector data, again I'm talking about GIS, to a much wider set of business conversations. And it's really, this is an early phase of where we are with this. Not only have we now got these technologies that have appeared, and now we've got this floods of data for new sensors, but I think that second next, the business piece, is something we're still behind on. We still are in that place where we have to understand, start with customer problems, build use cases, and not just talking about cool technology, but most importantly, talking about how you use that technology to solve real business problems. That second piece really brings us into the world of widening the use of geospatial data and technology to those in the business world. And that's really where a huge opportunity for geospatial, and that's really mainstream. And that's where we've been trying to get to for a long time, and I think we're at the cutting edge of that. So Geospatial.next is where we're moving to. You've seen that title at the top. I'll mention it in this last slide. So we're going to replace Geospatial 2.0 with Geospatial.next. I think it's a much better description of what we're talking about here. And I have certain areas of focus within my work at Critigen which are part of that world. And I actually see I put up there the top of that slide, bridge builder. I actually see myself as a bridge builder within my role and within my wider role as sort of a geospatial person. You know, how do we build bridges between the world that we've been inhabiting to this much wider world? And it's again a technology and a business conversation that we're engaged in here. So that's my email address, matt.sheehan, critigen.com. Thoughts, comments, any feedback you want to give to me, I'd love to hear it. And we'll look forward to moving forward with Geospatial.next.